Good evening, and welcome to the St. Ogan Nature Center. Tonight's story is The Adventure of Jill. There once lived a very lovely woman named Jill. To the side of Jill's house was a courtyard in which she had spent an abundance of time playing as a child with her friends. On one of those mornings, a dog had dashed across Jill's path, inspiring her to sing a little joyful tune to the dog. And now the new neighbor lady came out to enjoy the performance, although she had a faraway look in her eyes. When Jill ended her song, the neighbor lady asked her if she could introduce Jill to her own daughter, to which Jill accepted. And on that day, Jill first met Rosabeth. Jill liked Mwita, Rosabeth's father, who was tall and friendly, and much of her childhood was happily spent around the family of Rosabeth. Years later, Jill was walking along a path when a police officer met her. He asked her if she had seen a short woman with an alarm clock. Jill replied that she had not, but this brought to mind an image of something she'd seen in a book at her mother's house recently. Jill made her way to her mother's house before long and at last located the book she remembered. When she found the correct page, there was a photograph of a short woman displaying her alarm clock for the photographer. She wore a light blue chiffon kerchief and a beige raincoat. Jill was certainly not sure what to make of this strange ordeal, and so returned the book to its shelf and went on her way back to her apartment. Alas, meanwhile, Jill's apartment had been robbed, and Jill arrived in time to discover the same policeman who questioned her earlier. The officer explained that the prime suspect was in fact the short woman with the alarm clock he'd been searching for earlier. He told Jill the woman was known to be harmless but delusional. The woman believed she could control people's lives by having their clocks adjusted. The policeman assured Jill they would have her alarm clock back before long, and he bid her adieu. Jill felt acutely perplexed by now. She wondered why the woman wanted to control her life in particular, and in what way. And then Jill thought of the book at her mother's house. Could it be the same woman? For whatever it could have been worth, Jill made her way to the police station with the book, and there before her was the very woman with the same police officer. "Madam," he explained, "as you can see, things are approaching their conclusion. I will be with you shortly." After some time, the officer approached Jill with her alarm clock and revealed that the woman appeared to understand that there would be consequences if she continued disturbing the property of others. Having received back her alarm clock, Jill showed the woman's photo in the book to the policeman. "This page of the book," he began, "is not what it appears to be. The caption here suggests that the woman has an alarm clock that has been adjusted perfectly to meet all her needs. As we know, this is thoroughly delusional thinking." "It seems presumptuous of her," Jill came back. "Isn't it more sensible to hope in God?" "Sensible?" he exclaimed. "Perhaps terrifying is the more fitting term." After a pause, he finished, "She will be released now." The short woman was presently brought out near Jill, and the two ladies managed their ways out to the sidewalk, where they settled a moment in silence. "Well," Jill began, "I don't have bad feelings toward you, only a question. What made you believe adjusting alarm clocks could make such a difference?" The woman answered, "I am not an aside for the world, Jill, and I am not come that you might be confused and hopeless. What you and the officer discussed is of great importance, setting hope in God. Will you awaken to this?" And Jill watched as the woman walked toward the city.